Oh, I'm ready. I never get to. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
So, I'm pretty good. I just found out that it's Rocco's birthday. You guys do anything?
Just try to embarrass him and, make jokes and, make fun of him for being, it is his 21st birthday too, so, make fun of him for, how late did you stay out last night and that whole deal, which he didn't, and he was here watching film and stuff, but no, just sing him happy birthday and try to find different ways to make fun of him.
Like what?
Well, just kind of like what you said, I was in the quarterback room and talking about, how was Welch last night? How long did you guys stay out? And, which they didn't, and I know that, but they just get uncomfortable with that. So that's what it was.
More seriously, what more can this offense do to improve on?
Yeah, I think for us, there's a lot that we can improve on. You saw the last couple of games, we got behind the chains a couple times. We've had some penalties, we've had some turnover stuff, so I think there's still a lot of areas to clean up. There's still a lot of detail that we can improve on in the run game, in the pass game. Situationally, in the red zone, we have to be a lot better. So I think putting all those areas under a microscope and finding the details in there to improve on is something that we have to find a way to get better at.
After the Kansas game, Rocco said you felt like the offense hasn't really been in sync since the West Virginia game. Do you agree with that sentiment? And how do you diagnose the recent problems in recent weeks?
Yeah, I agree with what he says. That the expectation here is to go and execute offense at an elite level and to be in sync and to be able to sustain drives and not beat yourself. So you can see here in the last couple of games, we have beat ourselves from an offensive standpoint with penalties, poor play calls early in drives to get us behind the chains, and those are things like we just have to be better at. So I think everybody in that room knows how good our offense can be. You saw the first drive, we go 99 yards, and everybody has a lot of confidence in what we can do, and when we're not at our best, it can go the wrong way really fast. So we have to make sure that we do a good job of staying in front of the chains and being efficient and taking what the defense gives us and not beating ourselves, like I said, which we've seen that happen the last couple of weeks, which can't happen.
Matt talked after the game on Saturday about the offense needing to help out the defense, especially with the stated injuries on that side of the ball. How do you interpret that or go after that as a play caller?
Yeah, I think just from a self-scout standpoint, you watching what you're doing, what am I calling, and you come out against Kansas and you take a sack on P&10, like that's my fault. So it's not the O-line or the quarterback stuff. And when, like I said, you get behind the chains and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 15, you're asking a lot from the O-line, the quarterback, and everybody else in the offense. So maybe it is you come out and you just have to make sure you call your best play, that you can't take negative plays that are going to hurt your offense, because then your chances of going 3 and out and giving the ball back, increase a lot. So for me, I have to make sure I'm calling the right thing at the right time early in drives and getting our guys into rhythm. That way we can sustain drives a little bit longer and keep the other team's offense off the field and help the defense out, just like Coach Campbell was talking about.
Scoring touchdowns is hard enough under the best of circumstances. What's the added degree of difficulty if you got to take into account, like, hey, we need to probably give our defense a breather here, and all of that added to the difficulty of scoring play?
Yeah, I think that we don't stress that probably from just my standpoint of we're trying to play our best football there, and as the field shrinks, we have to make sure we're doing our part. Everyone's just focused on winning their first 2 steps or winning the moment with the football and all that, and taking advantage of, like I said, what the defense gives us, because you're not going to have, there's a play here and a play there you're going to look back on and either you made them or you didn't. So I think within that, it's sustaining the drive to help the defense, and then when you get down in the red zone, making those drives count and not giving away points. That way it puts your defense in stress later. So for us, it's more of an emphasis on the execution of the situation and where we're at on the field more than, those kind of things.
The offense showed some of its potential to be explosive in the second half with a couple of touchdown drives. Is there an effort to sort of carry that momentum over going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, between Jalen and Jaden and Rocco, no one's got more confidence in those guys than myself and the players in our locker room. And everyone we play and everyone in our locker room knows how dangerous those guys can be when they go and they cut it loose. And we play football the way that we expect to play football, those guys can be really special. So for us to be able to continue and use the momentum there, but there's a lot of people in that room that are discouraged with what we've done too, because everyone in that room is really competitive, and we think about all the plays we didn't make that we should have made and how we can get better. So we're not patting ourselves on the back for things that we did right. We're trying to fix everything that we did wrong, and there's a lot there to keep everybody busy. So the confidence doesn't waver, but the emphasis and the leadership has to come on the execution from our standpoint.
Seems teams have decided that various blitz packages are the best way to, kind of impact your offense in a negative way from your perspective. I know you've executed some plays to counter that. Are you increasingly thinking, if this is the way teams are going to continue to attack us, we got to, pull a few other tricks out of our playbook?
Yeah, so everything that we have has to have like a blitz answer, and there's been calls that we have that we expect was based on defense, but as we've gone through the season, we've gotten away from that with what we're seeing from defenses, and we see a lot of different stuff than what people have shown on tape, which you have to expect when you have players like Jaden and Jalen and Rocco. So for us, like, we have to make sure when we get in the dangerous areas on the field, between the 40s and the 35 and the 30 in the red zone, like I said, from my standpoint, like, I have to make sure we're calling the right thing, because we're going to get more pressure there from teams that want to keep us out of field goal range, keep us from scoring and things like that. So I have to call stuff that I know Rocco knows exactly where to go with the football, and pass stuff that we're protected on, or run game stuff where we know that we're safe depending on what the tendencies are in the blitz game and the dangerous areas are on the field.
What's the challenge of scheming against a guy who's been in this program so long, Tyson Veit, and I'm sure a good friend, but an enemy on Saturday, obviously?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges with it. Coach Veit and me worked together for a really long time. We're really good friends, and that guy's such a good football coach. And he's gonna be trying to murder me on Saturday and murder us, but in like a good way. He's an awesome guy, as competitive as anybody that you'll find. And we went against each other for a long time in practice, and I know how tenacious and how important football is, and he's such a good football coach. And he's done such a good job with the defense here and what he's done with the defense there at Cincinnati. So for us, I think we just have to see what we've done best on offense, and we've got, luckily enough for us, we've got to go against the defense a lot between spring and fall and when he was here. So I know he's gonna be aggressive and gonna make us, like you said, probably heat us up a little bit and have to force our guys to make some plays and pick some things up. But just trying to stay ahead of the chains, like I told you guys before, and be efficient on offense and sustain drives. And that's, the defense is made to make you drive the football. And as an offensive guy, you have to understand that and be able to move the football and not beat yourself. And Coach Veit's going to do a really good job, and he's going to put the pressure on us to do that, and it's really hard.
You guys have tackled adversity several times over the course of your time here at Iowa State. What are some lessons maybe you've learned over the last couple of weeks, and maybe watching Tom Manning or Nate Shieldhouse, and kind of how they got through those things?
Yeah, I think as adversity happens, the thing with those guys and the best players I've worked with here, all those guys that are able to get through it, they have elite focus, and they're able to just maintain their focus on what's in front of them, because there's always something that you have to do, whether as a player, as a coach, or there's something, you just don't ever have time to just worry about the consequences of the what ifs. And man, we have to make sure that the tight ends are doing this, or that the offense is doing this, and all those situations that I told you about. So the best players and the best coaches, I think, that are able to tackle adversity are able to align their focus in the right direction to help push through tough times, because the only way to get through it is just focus on the work. Because if you don't focus on the work, then you're going to lose track of your details and your fundamentals and what got you here. And our process and everything that we do here is what helped get us here. So we're not a different team than we were 5 weeks ago, but there's something not aligned with our process or myself or whatever. So you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and hold yourself accountable, and to be able to work a little bit harder than you did before, just to get yourself back on track. So I think those guys were all able to have elite focus to push through it and block out some of the noise and just go to work and focus on the work.
And you guys, you don't have any more bye weeks left, but with the personnel situation kind of at linebacker with Bramer and now Tyler Moore, how much time do you really have to kind of take a deep dive into the offense and make any of those changes, like, no more maybe forcing a square peg into a round hole, and with the tight ends, I know how much you like to use those, but how much do you maybe alter things now?
Yeah, it's been hard. It's something that we've had to think about really hard the last couple of days, of who are our best 11 players that can go, because our whole thing here has always been players, formations, plays, and our best 11 players on the field, that's 11, 12, or 13 personnel. So for us, I still think it goes back to that, and who are our best 11 players, and can we play in that personnel, and can we go win football games with those guys? And you can still have your wrinkles here and there that you really like, but for us, I think it's still about putting the best 11 guys on the field to go be successful. And having new guys that there's going to be some new guys that have their chance to go, and you're going to see if they're ready for their moment or not. And you hope that they are. And we've had guys like Carson Brown and other people that have done a really good job of that, and other people that might not. So it's going to be fun to see who can step up for us and make some big plays. And if they're not, then I know that we've got 11 guys that can.
Players, formations,
Plays.
Yeah. That's kind of the order it is. I guess so far this season, that's kind of tracked out to where 2 receivers have gotten most of, huge bulk of the receiving yardage. Is that something that you think about a lot as a problem, or if it's working, who cares?
I go with if it's working, who cares? Those 2 guys that we have provide me with so much confidence with what we're doing. There's a lot of other people on our offense that do that well, but those guys are really special, and I've been here for a long time. And those guys are as good as anybody that we've had, and they care as much as anybody that we've had. And those guys know that there's going to be a plan from the defense to take those guys away and make it really hard. And they're going to find a way to just win their one-on-one matchup the best way that they can. So that also leaves the door open for some other people on offense that know that they're going to have one-on-one matchups that they have to win if the other guys are getting double-teamed and things like that. So for us, it's like I said before, it's about getting our best guys the ball and finding ways to do that. And we have really good backs, and the other guys that play at tight end are really good too, and know they can make plays in the right ways. But yeah, I think probably with what you said, the second piece of it.
To follow up on that same line of questioning, and this kind of looks more towards the future, but how do you balance getting Jalen and Jaden the ball a lot like you have this year, and it's working well, while also trying to find ways to get developmental snaps and opportunity for guys like Eli, Isaiah, Benny, Carson Brown, any of those guys who you may be trying to play in the future?
Yeah. So for us, it really starts at practice. And like Dom Overby's a guy that's made really good plays at practice, and you don't ever really know if those guys are ready for that moment, and so they get in there. It was great to see Dom go in on 3rd down and make a huge catch for us to extend the drive. So for us, it really starts with, can those guys execute it at practice, to have the confidence to go out there and do it at an elite level versus elite corners like Kansas has. And they did a good job of it. And if you can't do it out at practice, when no one's out there, it's going to be hard for you to go out and do that in Jack Trice or any stadium that we're going to have to go into. So for us, like once we see those guys do it in practice, I think that injects confidence in Coach Pauly and our other coaches to, hey, like we're going to let this guy have a chance to go spin it and make a play. And I really think of it like if Jalen and Jaden trust those guys to go play on our offense, and same with Rocco, like if they feel good about it, they trust it. Those guys are in the locker room with those guys. They see what those guys work with behind closed doors when we're at meetings. So if those guys greenlight it and they trust it, because those guys run our offense. It's not me, it's not Campbell, like Jaden, Jalen, Rocco, and the leaders of our offense, Hufford, those guys do it. So if they trust it and they're good with it, we'll scheme it up, and those guys have to go execute.
The pick sixes that Rocco's thrown in the last 2 weeks, is that bad interception luck, or are there routes, coverages, situations where quarterbacks got to know, I got to be sure of this, otherwise there's a high chance it could go the other way?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Like I thought that I put Rocco in a bad situation with what we called on 1st down. So we put ourselves when we lost yards on 1st down, so it's 2nd and long, which the defense is going to expect you to pass, and then we pass it and it gets intercepted and it goes the other way. So I put that more on myself than I do on Rocco, and obviously there's a execution piece of it, and I know he would probably tell you the other way on it, but probably a little bit of both. Bad luck, awareness, situation. I have to do my part to put him in better situations to where we don't have turnovers, and that's the offense in general.
Why have you guys not been able to execute in the red zone? What's the problem there?
Yeah, I think from us, just not being able to for me, there's certainly a lot of calls I wish I had the other way. There's an execution piece of it where we beat ourselves, whether that's been turning the football over, penalties, things like that bump you out, because as the field shrinks and you get to 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15, those aren't advantageous situations to be in. So you have to make sure that you take advantage of what the defense gives you, and if you don't, then it's going to be really, really hard, because you can't beat yourself down in those critical situational areas. And as everything gets a little bit tighter, the balls have to be a little bit tighter, the calls have to be more precise, and when they're not, that's just the way that it's going to go. So it starts with me having a better plan.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Yep.
Appreciate it.